So for today's notes, it's just an extension of what we were doing last time with our systems of equations, but this time it's a bigger equation. You're used to doing it just simply when you have two equations, so you either do your substitution or your elimination. So this time, as you can see in our first example, we have three equations and we also have three variables. So whenever you have a 3 by 3, as we call it, you're always going to use your elimination method. So again, in the box, I have up there the steps for you to follow. I find just reading the steps doesn't make much sense, so let's start going with our first example. First thing you should do is label your equations as A, B, and C, because that's just going to make things a little easier as we're going along. So eventually we have to get a value for x, we have to get a value for y, and we have to get a value for z. So we got to figure out what x equals, y equals, and z equals. So once we have those three numbers, that means we are done with this problem. So we get to pick which letter we want to eliminate first. We can go for x, we can go for y, we can go for z. So we want to kind of take a look at our equations here. For our x's, I got 2, 6, negative 4. Y's, we got a 1, a negative 3, and a 4. Z's, we have a 1, a negative 1, and a negative 1. So I'm probably going to go for z's first, because they're all already the same number. They're all already a 1. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to take equation A, and I'm going to add it to equation B, because if I add these together, my z's are going to cancel each other out, because they're already one positive, one negative. So I'm going to copy down my equation A just as it is. I'm not changing it. So 2x plus y plus z equals 15. And then underneath it, I'm going to write my equation B. So 6x minus 3y minus z equals 35. And then I'm going to add the two of them together. So 2x plus 6x gives us 8x. 1y plus a negative 3y gives us negative 2y. 1z plus a negative 1z, that's going to cancel out just like we want it to. And then 15 plus 35 gives us 50. So now we've gotten rid of one letter. We got rid of the z. All we have left are x and y. So this new equation, I'm going to call equation D. And again, we're just purely labeling so that as I start referring to them, you know which one I'm talking about, because the letters are easier. So we've eliminated z by adding a and b. So now we have to pick two different original equations and eliminate z again. So looking back at my original three, I have from equation A and equation C, again, the letter z would easily knock out. I don't have to multiply anything here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take A, add c to it to get rid of my letter z. So I'm going to first copy down both equations, lining them up, x's, y's, and z's. So again, we'll add them. 2x plus a negative 4x gives me a negative 2x. 1y plus 4y gives me 5y. Our z's cancel. And then 15 plus a negative 14 gives me a 1. So I'm going to call that equation E now. So now we've made two new equations, D and E. So now D and E both only have an x and a y. So we're going to use those two equations and do like what you've always done in the past to get rid of a letter. So D is 8x minus 2y equals 50. E is negative 2x plus 5y equals 1. So I'm just going to line those up just like we have in the past. So now we have to pick again. Do we want to get rid of x or y? looking at this quickly, I'm kind of thinking x's might be a little easier to eliminate. Because I can make a 2 turn into an 8 by multiplying it by what? By 4. So that first equation, I didn't multiply it, so that's going to stay the way it is. Second equation, we're multiplying everything by 4, so negative 8x plus 20y equals 4. That's a parenthesis there, that's not a number. So now we can add these together. 8x's cancel. Negative 2y plus 20y gives me an 18y. 50 plus 4 gives me a 54. So divide by 18, what do we get? So there we go. We got one of our answers. We know y is a 3. I'm going to go back up here to my little list. Bam, y is 3. So now we just have to figure out the other two. So to figure out the other two, you're going to take the one that you know, which is y is a 3, and you're going to plug it into either the d or the e equation. Because again, that only had 2 letters, so that's why we want to plug it into one of those. Let's go with d. So I'm going to plug my 3 in for y. So 8x minus 2 times 3 equals 50. 2 times 3 makes that a 6, so 8x minus 6 equals 50. Add our 6 over. 8x equals 56. Divide by 8, and what does x equal? 7. So there's our second one. So x equals 7. So then to get our final letter, our z, you have to pick one of the 3 original equations. It doesn't matter which one. And you have to plug in your x and your y, and then you'll be able to figure out your z. So to figure out z, I'm actually going to use my letter A. Again, you could use B or C. So I'm going to put 7 in for x, equal for y. Trying to figure out my z, so that stays z. Let's see here, 2 times 7. 14 plus 3 gives me 17. So then we subtract our 17 over, and what does z equal? Negative 2. There you go. X is 7, y is 3, and z is negative 2. See, not so bad. Just elimination over and over and over again. All right, let's try another one. All right, so again, first thing we're going to do, label A, B, and C. So next we have to figure out what letter do we want to get rid of first, X, Y, or Z. So looking at our X's, I got a couple of positives and a negative. Same thing with my Y's. Z's, we got a couple of negatives and a positive. So really, there doesn't seem to be one that lends itself better than the others to eliminate right away. So somebody just pick one, X, Y, or Z. Y, okay. So I see if we're going to eliminate Y's, here's a positive 1Y from equation A. Equation C has a negative 1Y. Those will eliminate nicely. So I'm going to start off with A plus C. So again, I rewrite them, lining them up. So then I add the two of them together. 4x plus 5x gives me 9x. Y's are gone. Negative 3z minus 7z is negative 10z. And negative 6 minus 19 gives me negative 25. So there's equation D. So then remember, again, we have to pick two other equations and eliminate the same letter. You got to get rid of y again. So in order to do that, I'm going to, I think I'm going to use b and c this time, because b is a positive 4, c is a negative 1, but I already got the positive and the negative thing going on, which is what we want. So I'm going to take b, but I'm going to have to multiply c by a 4. So I'm going to do b plus 4 times my c. So my b equation is not going to change. So that's still negative 2x plus 4y plus 2z equals 38. Equation C, I'm going to multiply everything in there by 4. So 20x minus 4y minus 28z equals negative 76. Now we can add the two of them together. Our y's cancel out just like we wanted it to. So negative 2x plus 20x is 18x minus 26z equals negative, let's see here, 38. And there's our equation E. So now we have two equations that are both down to the letter x and z. So I'm going to line those up here so we can figure out what we need to do to eliminate. All right, so we got 9x minus 10z equals negative 25. 18x minus 26z equals a negative 38. I say we go for the x's, because I can easily turn a 9 into an 18 by multiplying it by what? 2. 10 and 26, that's not exactly easy. You're going to have to like multiply them by each other, and then you have really, really large numbers. So I say we multiply equation D by negative 2. So we have negative 18x plus 20z equals a positive 50. The second equation stays the way it is, but again, line things up, line up x's, z's, and numbers. So now we can add them. Negative 18, positive 18 cancels. Negative 6z equals 12. So divide by negative 6, what does z equal? Too close. Negative 2. I'll write my little list up here. Z is a negative 2. We got one of them. So now remember, we go back to either D or E, plug in our negative 2. I'm going to use my D equation. Plug my negative 2 in for my Z. That becomes a positive 20. then we subtract that 20 over. So I get a negative 45. Divide by 9, what does x equal? Negative 5. So again, last one, we need to figure out y now. So we pick one of the 3 originals. Oh, let's go with c. So I'm going to put negative 5 in for x and negative 2 in for z. Again, I chose to use equation C. C as in cat. You could have used A or B, but. So negative 25 minus y plus 14 equals a negative 19. So negative 25 plus 14 gives us negative 11. So then add our 11 over, and we get negative y equals a negative 8. So what would positive y equal? Positive 8. So there we go. Negative 5, 8, and negative 2. All right, one more example here. A, B, C. A, B, C. All right, what letter do we want to get rid of first? Let's do x this time. We got rid of z first on the first problem. We got rid of y in the last one. Let's go for x this time. So for x's, this 4 and this negative 2 are sticking out in my head because one's positive, one's negative already. And how do I make a 2 turn into a 4? Multiply by 2. So I'm going to do equation A plus 2 times equation C. And 7 times 2 gives me 54. So our x's eliminate. But what also happens to our y's? They eliminate too. We got rid of 2 of them. So 3z plus 8z is 11z equals 77. 23 plus 54 gives us 77. Divide by 11 and we get z equals 7. We've already got one of our answers. So now the thing is, all of the other equations we still only have equations A, B, and C. You don't have enough information to be able to figure out your other 2 letters yet. So we still have to create a second equation. So for that, this time I'm going to use B and C. I want to do 2 times B to make that x a positive 2. And then I'm going to add to it C, so that gives me 2x plus 10y minus 6z equals negative 74. So add those together, our x's are gone, like we wanted. 10y plus 1y is 11y. Negative 6z plus 4 is negative 2. Negative 74 plus 27 is 47. Yep. So now we already know what z is, so let's go ahead and plug that in. So we're going to plug in 7 for z so we can figure out y. So 2 times 7 is negative 14. Add the 14 over. You get negative 33. So y is a negative 3. So then you got to plug those two in, figure out your x. Should have gotten that x was a negative 1.